Hey, how you doing, folks? Chris Harris here. Another episode of Voices from the Stables, presented to you by Buck Sweep Sports Podcast. Uh, Preview of the fourth round matchup between Clinton and Nash Central. First time Clinton has made it to the fourth round since 2019, so it's a special episode. And with a special episode comes some special guests, and I got two of them with me today. First off, you guys are familiar with him. The voice of Clinton football for the last 19 seasons, Mr. the J-Man, Mr. Jonathan Griffin. Jonathan, welcome back to the show, man.
Chris, always a pleasure to be on. I apologize I'm not donning all of my Clinton attire. I felt like we would overwhelm Shawn a little bit if we just were completely decked out. So I'm neutral right now, but y'all know where I stand. So
yes, sir, yes, sir. And we got another special guest, first time on the show. Hosts a really great YouTube show, The Grit and Grind. One of the co-hosts, Mr. Shawn Lucas. Shawn, welcome to the show. Appreciate you having coming on, man.
Hey, glad to be here, Chris. Hey, just looking forward for the game on Friday night. Big game in our area.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, folks. So if you're first time visiting the channel, man, make sure you subscribe. Check us out on Facebook. I'll post all the links in the comments below. But we're going to start off. We're going to do a little quick recap of Friday's game. Victory, 42-7 victory over Southeast Alamance. Pretty cut and dry, man. This team had came into this game with some adversity. First real adversity they faced this year. Just seeing how they're going to, come out after losing a star player to a season-ending injury last week or the week before. And the team came out really answered any doubt, killed any doubt. Came out, Amaris Williams, first play of the game, what I can only describe as a Derrick Henry-like touchdown run, stiff arm, breaking multiple tackles, 55-yard touchdown run, and the offense just took off from there. Offensive line played great defense, lights out as usual. Like pretty much cut and dry. 35 points in the first quarter. 7 minutes into the second quarter, offensive starters were gone. They're on the bench. Defense starters finished out the half just to hold up that 42-point lead so they could get the running clock. JV guys and reserves played the rest of the second half. Pretty much actually played pretty solid. My Buck Sweet Sports player of the game. Like I said, they make it hard for me every week, man. I had to choose two. I went with big man Amaris Williams, 139 yards, 3 touchdowns on 5 touches. Then I had to give my second player of the game to Josiah Robinson. Big welcome back for him. He's missed the last couple of games. Came out 138 yards and a touchdown. My trench warrior of the week. Once again, these fellas make it so hard for me to choose one person. So I just had to give it to the entire offensive line. Entire offensive line to include the tight ends, H-backs. And I'm pretty sure I seen somebody's grandmother run out there on the field and throw a block, man. Everybody was blocking good. Holes were there. So just another great game. And Jonathan, you saw it in person. You have any comments that you want to throw in there about the Southeast Alamance game?
yeah, so obviously, Amaris did some good things. The very first run was one of the best runs I've ever seen live. If you hadn't had a chance, Shawn, to watch the video of that, just Chris can send you that copy of. There's two different angles. High School OT has got an angle, and then I guess probably a personal videographer who was sending out some stuff on highlights has got a different angle. And the only thing that worries me about Amaris when he runs the ball, and Chris and I have talked about this, is because he is 6'3", 270. Nobody can tackle him up high. So what do? They go for his knees. And in the very first carry of the game, after he stiffed armed the first guy, in the video showing the highlight of the run, he's fighting off a guy diving for his knee. And that's the only thing that scares me about him running it. Is because it just, unfortunately just takes one bad step or one low hit. But Amaris he's a beast. Chris failed to mention his second carry of the game was a 45-yard run, the very next carry. So he was at, 9,900 yards just like that. I mean, so he's going to be tough for Nash Central too. They're going to have to gang tackle him. They're going to have to go low. And then Josiah Robinson, he was out 3 games with a shoulder injury. I believe he got hurt in the Fairmont game, which was the last game of the year. He sat out the rest of that game and then the first 2 playoff games. And so he came back and he's strong. But again, Chris and I have talked about it. You don't replace Josiah McLaurin. You just hope to. I mean, this is a guy that when he went down, just to give you an idea of his stats. Obviously, he's committed to Maryland, but he came in as far as receiving the ball. He had 28 receptions for 509 yards with 9 touchdowns. Overall, he had, I believe, 36 total touchdowns on the year. And then he had over 1,000 yards rushing. I've got that right here as well. He had where is my rushing stats? Somebody's been stealing. My kid's been stealing my stats here. I had all my stuff. No, here it is. You know, so McLaurin had 103 carries for 1,170 yards, and he had 27 rushing touchdowns. So you don't replace that. You get people to try to fill in by committee. So that's a big loss for us. But I thought, to Chris's point, Clinton hadn't faced adversity all year. Their starters, if you remember, have not played they have not played a full game. Most of the time, they're not playing into a fourth quarter. They've had running clocks in just about every single game that they've played this year, and the closest amount of victory has been 26 points against Princeton, and that was 40-14. So the only adversity we could come up with really to how Clinton would respond was seeing one of their guys go down, and how would they, surround him and corral him and fight for him, because he was on the sidelines in crutches with a cast, and we needed him on the field. Just obviously we thought we'd need him on the field, and we would certainly take him on the field, but the guys rallied around him, and it was fun to watch.
Yes, sir. And that just kind of goes back to my point of, we're blessed with quality depth. Like I said, you don't replace a Josiah. Like you said, you don't replace a Josiah McLaurin. I mean, as an athlete, one of the best I've ever seen in open field. Like it's like trying to catch smoke, trying to tackle this kid. I mean, he could die to tackle in the phone booth. There ain't too many phone booths around anymore, so a lot of these young guys don't know what we're talking about. But he's that good in the open field, and like I said, there's no replacing him. But like I said, with that quality depth, and Lil Birdie told me word got back to the team that folks was kind of doubting because of the injury, and needless to say, they said, okay, watch his work.
Well, I would look. Hey, if you want to doubt him. If that's the fuel that they need to continue to run, because all you're going to hear the remainder of the year is, well, you hadn't played anybody to the quality of opponent this year. Your conference is atrocious, which they are, but there's a reason why you run every single body in the conference. And it's like, oh, well, you hadn't look, everything that you can come up with has been said about Clinton, whether in person, through phone call, through text, or on preps. Every little negative thing that can be thrown out, and the kids read that stuff, and the coaches certainly read that stuff. And it's done nothing but add fuel. But I am interested, Chris, to hear about what Clinton can be seeing when they come to the corral on Friday, and that's the Nash Central team. Tell me a little about that Nash Central we can see, Shawn. What are we going to see? I do know you got 2 running backs over 1,000 yards, but I want to know what else you guys got, and tell us a little bit more about those.
Nash Central come in. The coach by coach league, one of the best coaches over here in Nash County. We got 4 good ones over here. But he's been grooming this team for the past 4 or 5 seasons since we've been covering them and other Nash County teams. And this has been a team that every year they get to the 3rd round. But whether they have to go on the road, their first time they went to Princeton, and they just were a young team. Second time they hosted, third time they hosted Watts Rose Hill last year and just couldn't get the game to get to the 4th round. So this team is excited. They're in the 4th round for the first time in school program history.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an old name, but new school, because we had 3 in Nash County. But they built Nash Central and gave it the old name from what Nashville School was. But this team is going with, you got Rogers, the running back. You got Jenkins, Finkley, Winston Lee. We call Winston Lee the general over here because he's the quarterback. He plays mistake-free football. If we need him to throw it, he can throw it. And if we need him to hand it off, he can hand it off. If we need him to game manage, he can game manage. Our defense, last year we had a name for him, Lunch Pail Hard Hat, because it was more of a defensive team. This year's more of an offensive team. I think it's going to be a good game Friday night when we come up there to the corral to see the coaches with the X's and O's. We think Coach Lee last week probably coached one of the best third quarters we've seen with managing the clock and managing the play calling. So I want to see how we can balance it out. We're bringing the whole town of Nashville with us up here. So we look forward to coming up to Clinton and just seeing what happens on Friday night. And like we always say, that's why we turn the lights on Friday night and let the boys and girls out there play.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, all good things, man. And like I said, and that's crazy. That's your first time making it to the fourth round. That's awesome. That's awesome. For Clinton, this is not, tradition wise, history wise, this is not unfamiliar territory for us. Of course, playing in 10 state championship games, winning 5. Last one coming in 2014. But like I said, this is a team that has, like you said, it's been building. It's been building up. Last year, lost a heartbreaker, flat out heartbreaker to the eventual 2A state champion, East Duplin, in round 3 by 1 point. And you just knew, looking at that team and how many we had coming back, that they were capable of making it to this point. So, it's not really a surprise for us to be here. But, like I say, anytime you're playing football, you're practicing on Thanksgiving, it's a blessing. You're a good football team. So we're really looking forward to, hosting Nash Central Friday night, man. It seems like a great program. I was checking out the game last week, and man, it looked like it was a track meet, man. It was just, so many athletes, great athletes on the field, so much speed. You talked about your running backs, and those 2 guys I'm looking at. Number 5 Jones, number 19 Rogers, man. What do you have? You said he had. I think he said he had over 200 yards, 6 touchdowns.
200 yards, 6 touchdowns, and we're trying to check right now, but we think that's a school record for most touchdowns scored in the game.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man. And like I said, I was just you said this is a team that I've kind of been keeping my own. Like I said, I looked at y'all's schedule. I saw the only losses were to 2 really good 3A programs. One that's still playing, that's going to be playing Friday night in Northern Nash. And like just seeing that, those 2 teams will give majority of 2A teams a loss on their record. So like I said, Nash Central's been somebody I've been really looking at. I'm really looking forward to this game Friday night. Now, you talked about your offensive guys. Now, is anybody on defense in particular that really stands out?
Well, we got Rogers, he's playing defense, and then we got Finkley that plays defense. Finkley kind of covers the field. We call him the Mr. Do Everything, man. We lost one of our DNs the last game of the season. He blew out his leg, so he's not going to be able to come back the next season. But Finkley's pretty much been our heart and soul of that defense, to who we can look for. Rogers when we need him to go in. And then we got another kid over there that's kind of, a junior, getting some more reps in these games. And we're hoping that he's got enough reps last week in that game to prepare for this game when Coach Lee needs to go give a blow to one of the starters.
Shawn, how many kids do you have going both ways? That is a proponent usually in 2A, 1A, 2A, 3A football, but how many do you guys have going both ways?
We got about 5 or 6 we know that go both ways that, Coach Lee rotates them in and out. But about 4 or 5 of them, they go in on offense. They may, once we score a touchdown, may skip 2 plays and right back out on the field. And we did this year being able to condition our guys, up there. I think that was one of the biggest weaknesses we had last year when we got to the 3rd round. When we got to Wallace Rose Hill, we just weren't conditioned to go that long.
Okay. Well, I can tell you, Chris and I have talked about this, and Clinton is blessed this year. You talk about depth and quality depth. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we only have 1, maybe 2 guys that go both ways. And Amars is one of them. And they used to rotate him out a lot more on offense because he didn't play offense all that much. But now with McLaurin being out, they're using him more. So he's one that you would say is a 2-way player. But for the most part, I can't really think of anybody that's really running too much. The entire offensive line is offensive line only.
Right.
The H backs are offensive line only unless you count Amars. Running backs is only Amars when he plays running back. And Chris mentioned setting records, and Shawn, you mentioned setting records. I got to give a shout out to our quarterback who's a junior. He's got 83 completions out of 123 attempts, right at 67% completion for 1,812 yards. We used to at Clinton because we were always kind of like the Tarboro team. We were the Bob Lewis schoolhouse team, and we threw it and we didn't throw it unless we absolutely had to. And sometimes that would come back to bite us when you get to play into the West teams and state titles. But for the most part, it's like, hey, if you can't stop it, why am I going to break the tradition?
Right.
But since Corey Johnson's came over and they've spread it out more and more every year, I would say, Chris, I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but I think since Corey started, since his first year to now, Clinton has gone from like 80-20, like run to pass, to like 70-30, to like maybe 60-40, to almost like 45-55 now, where Blackwell, only being a junior, he's got 25 touchdowns and only one interception. He threw that in the second game of the year. He hadn't had one since then, knock on wood. But we used to talk about Clinton rarely getting. I think it was Blake Smith last year for Clinton was only the second 1,000-yard passer since Stephen Horn did it in 2001, and now we've got somebody on the cusp of 2,000 yards. That's unheard of around here at Clinton. It's just unheard of. So, the days of crowding the box and Clinton not being able to throw it on you is over. So that's going to be a fun matchup too, because it's a little bit of a chess match, a cat and mouse game. It's like, do we put 9 or 10 in the box to try to get 3 and 4 bodies on Amaris and Josiah, or do we and then run the risk of seeing somebody throw it over the top, or do we play it more standard, defense and just keep everything in front of us as best we can? That's the fun part to me as an observer, is what the coaches do, that game of cat and mouse.
And that's what we had last week with Hereford County. They have a good quarterback over there.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's getting looked at by a few schools. I mean, he is amazing. He can drop it on the dime when he throws it, hard to bring down. And that was what Nash Central needed before we got to you guys, is because we had, over here in our area, it's heavy run. Nash Central does balance, run, and pass, but all the other teams besides North's about the only team in our area that do throw the ball out. So Nash Central needed that challenge of being able to play a team that can run and throw to be able to get us ready for this game. So like I said, I'm ready to see Coach Lee game plan to see what he can do on Friday night against Clinton.
And just to kind of piggyback off what Jonathan was saying, man, I don't want to speak too much for Coach Johnson, but one of the things he always likes to talk about is he's going to take whatever the defense is giving him. So if they're crowding the box and playing the run, okay, we're going to take the pass. If you're playing out and giving us space, okay, you ain't gonna match it. You ain't gonna match it with our offensive line is giving you. We're gonna run it right down your throat. So, like I said, it's gonna be an interesting chess match, man. Just a battle of wits between the coaches. I'm really expecting a great game. But Jonathan, we're gonna give him a little bit more on Clinton, and I guess I'll just do a little start. For any Nash Central people who are unfamiliar with the program, it is head coached by Corey Johnson. We coming into this game 13-0, 5-0 in the conference. First time in the 4th round since 2019. Team comes in averaging 52 points a game, only allowing 11. And piggybacking on what Jonathan was saying, some of our players to watch. Of course, it starts with quarterback junior Nadarian Blackwell, over 1,800 yards passing, 25 touchdowns to 1 interception. And like you said, man, one big game away from being the first quarterback ever to hit 2,000 yards. And I know some Western guys out there, Shelby, Reevesville fans, are looking at those numbers like, oh, man, 2,000, man, we do that in 5 games. But, hey, for us in Clinton, that's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal because we like to tote the tater, as our coach like to say sometimes.
I was about to say, where'd you get that line from, Chris?
And then moving into our running backs, Josiah Robinson, like I said, coming off that 2-3 games he was out, but now he's over 1,000 yards, 1,087 yards, 14 touchdowns. big man Amars Williams comes in with 679 yards and 12 touchdowns. And a real great athlete that is really broken onto the scene as of late on the offensive side of the ball. Made his money on the defensive side of the ball last year, but got to watch out for number 3, Jakarion Keenan. He's really came on this year as a receiver. Last couple games now, he's up to 538 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns. He's another one that are guys you'll see on both sides of the ball. I mean, just a phenomenal athlete. I really feel like he's a junior, and I feel like his recruitment is really gonna pick up over the off season because the kid he's got what you're looking for in a college athlete. But just
he started.
I
was just going to say, no. I was just going to say he started the year just playing defense.
Yeah.
And he had 4 interceptions, and then they moved him. They moved him to wide receiver and moved one of the wide receivers we had to corner in Jeffrey Jacobs, and so they've got guys who've played both sides that can move over, but it's kind of a mid-season switch, and he's been really, really good. He's got very good sure hands. You'll see that if they throw it to him, they like to throw it to him a lot. He's the guy who will be throwing the ball the most since McLaurin's not out there. And he had one of the most impressive catches I've seen. He full-on layout extension. I believe 2 games ago, there was a pass thrown, and usually in high school you'll see some type of, a crazy catch or one-handed catch. This was full-on Superman, and he caught it right through the end zone. So he's a good kid, to Chris's point. But yeah, so Clinton's got some good guys. We got to talk a little bit about the defense. And you look at Jaden Williams, we call him Jay-Bird. He leads the team in tackles, which he did not play last week. He was a little bit nicked up himself, but he leads the team in tackles. And I had that too, but again, kids and stealing stuff.
Hey man, I got you, brother. I got you.
Yeah, bring it out, Brand. Bring it out. Oh yeah, 53 tackles.
53 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 interception, and he's got a block punt return for a touchdown as well. When I say it, and I know I'm biased, but when I say this, I'm telling you right now, the next 2 years, this young man's going to be the best linebacker in two-way football. Jaden Williams.
That's saying something. That's saying something.
Remember that name.
That's
Jaden Williams. Jaden Jay-Bird.
Hey, Shawn, Williams. I got a question, Chris, for Shawn. Please tell me you guys don't do like every Robinson County school and leave your quarterback in to punt on 4th down. Seen. Do you guys do that? Because every Robinson County school apparently seen each other. Somebody gave him a phone call and said, hey, if you leave your quarterback out there in shotgun, just quick kick it every time. That's how Clinton's got most of their blocks, is people just standing back there and they're not taking the full distance back and them running out there and just busting through the line and blocking.
We got a guy named Braston Skies. He's been the grind player of the week on our show for special teams. And the one thing is, you got to watch this guy kick. When he kicks it off, number one, he's putting you back, either touchback, starting you on the 20, or pinning you somewhere on that 5-yard line, make you have to have a long drive. And when we need him to punt, he's actually average about 35, 40 yards off a punt. I think, if you ask me, and I'm being biased, I think he's one of the best kickers and punters in the state. He's had a lot of people come look at him. But last week with that game with Hertford County, he was able to always just kick the ball in the right spot on kickoff or punts, where Hertford County had to have long drives. So that's been an asset for us this year. That's been a missing link that Nash Central has missed over the past couple of years, was the kicking game.
Hey, kickers are big. Clinton won a state championship, and the MVP of that game was a kicker, our kicker. So, kickers are very important. And if there's one thing that, and Chris, I'd love to get into this segment with you, because I don't want to jump ahead, because I know you forgot a lot on your list. But if there's anything there's 2 things in my opinion, and I'd love to get Chris's take on this, and then Shawn, your opinion on Nash Central too. But if there's 2 things that Clinton has that they haven't, that might not come back to bite them, but it would be something that they just haven't faced, is one, adversity. Aside from the mentality of losing a great player, like I alluded to early on, they have not had to play 4 full quarters. And so usually our starters are out by mid-third quarter to start or fourth quarter at the most. So they haven't had to play full 4 quarters. They haven't been down going into the fourth quarter. They haven't even been close to being down in the fourth quarter. So when and if that happens, how do they handle that? How do they, what do they say? Like, it's not about the hits you get, when you get hit in the mouth, it's how you get up and move on after that. They haven't been hit in the mouth all year. So how will they handle that when and if it comes? And the second thing is Clinton, as far as I know, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't had to, but we have not had to kick or lined up to even try a field goal. As far as I know, we do kick extra points, and the kickers do a great job of extra points. But I don't think we kicked or even attempted a field goal this year. So if it comes down to a field goal, that's the only other thing I'm unsure of is how would we handle that situation. But regardless of that, this team hasn't allowed themselves to even be put in that situation. But those would be the only 2 things that I could see from my vantage point that we just haven't, they're question marks per se. It's just, and it's because we haven't faced it or hadn't had experience with it.
And like I said, to answer your question, man, like I said, I understand, no 2 years are the exact same, but you gotta realize, a lot of these kids have been in this situation before. A lot of these kids were on the field last year, in that fourth quarter against St. Paul's, so we went through, we had lost. They experienced losses. They experienced close games. Like I said, the senior, I feel like some Nick Cooper had talked about on the show last week, that senior leadership, when it comes to when the game gets tight, I feel like that senior leadership will kick in. Because like I said, a lot of these guys, think about a guy like Alex. Alex been on the squad since, his freshman year, that spring season. He's experienced, turmoil,
yeah.
That playoff game against Eastern Randolph. He's been there. So when something like that happens, you look for your seniors, guys like Alex, guys like Amaris, guys like Dexter Wilson, to step up and say, all right, guys, let's get it together. But Shawn and Deryl have been talking about on their show, man, this is a focused football team. The one of the biggest things you always worry about, especially with a group of 17, 16-year-olds, is getting a big head, getting complacent. And this group of young men it's not affecting them right now. These guys are focused. There's a clear goal in mind. And if it comes down to a close game, I'm 100% confident that, these kids are going to come up and, rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Speaking on the special teams part, yeah, you're correct. We have not attempted field goal all year. Our guys, the kickers have been pretty solid on their extra points. You don't really see them miss too many. If they miss it, it's a missed block and it got blocked. But
yeah,
hopefully hopefully you're not in that situation, man. I've seen Nash Central's kicker. Everything Shawn said is legit. The kid's got a big leg, so there will be some touchbacks. Come Friday night, we'll be starting on 20 sometimes. But like I said, you just hope that you're handling business the right way, that you're not gonna need a last second field goal. But I mean, if it has to come down to it, I would definitely probably give the advantage to Nash Central in that part. Like I said, I seen their kicker, man. He's got a leg, and I want to say one of those games he hit about a 30, 38, 44-yard field goal. So I'm like, yeah, they definitely got us in that part of the game.
We'll have Shawn. We'll have contrasting styles on kickoffs then, because if there has been an Achilles heel up to the last few weeks, which I thought we've done a good job, at least since Fairmont, to kind of solidify that, is of the 11 points per average we've given up on the year, I think maybe 4 touchdowns have been from kickoff returns, 2 of which came back to back against Fairmont. So the defense has only given up, probably at least 30 points less than their overall point allowance. But and the starting defense maybe even less than that. But it's just the special teams, and we've done a better job, but we'll do a lot of pooch kicks. We'll do high angle kicks. We got a kick last week. I believe Southeast Alamance decided to take the ball and we kicked the ball high and got the onside kick recovery on the first play of the game, if I'm not mistaken. That may have been the second time, but it all kind of blurs together when you've been doing it this long. But tell I mean, what do you think, if you could tell us about Nash Central and some of the things that you've seen that you have, that where there are question marks, because we know how talented you guys are. You wouldn't be here if you weren't talented. What would be your team's question marks, and sort of how would they face what they haven't faced, or things like that, or where their weaknesses are?
The biggest adversity for Nash Central would be, being that we're in the 2A, 3A conference, we play good 3A schools, Southern Nash, Northern Nash, Rocky Mount, Franklinton. We play them every season, which gets us ready for these games. But our biggest adversity is getting in Clinton. If you stop us 2 times and we don't score, how can we bounce back? Because we're kind of used to either being in shootouts where we jump ahead, 2 touchdowns, and then we just game manage it, or either going back and forth. That's how the Hereford County game was. We were going back and forth with scoring till we were able to get our defense to get 2 stops, then give the ball to Rogers, and Rogers pretty much ran a 45-yard touchdown. So our biggest adversity is just being, if we get in a shootout with Clinton, if Clinton stops us on one drive, how can we come back on that next offensive drive? We get the ball back and kind of come back and score. Special teams wise, Braxton's been doing a good job. Defense, the Hereford County game did scare me a little bit. I knew it was going to be a shootout because I knew Hereford County had a good offense. I didn't know it was going to be a shootout to that degree of what we had, 71-68. But I feel like if we were able to keep up with you guys and keep that pace, and the biggest thing with Nash Central is we can score quick. And with scoring quick, it's pros and cons. It leaves a lot of time on the clock, and we saw it in the first half of Hereford County. We were able to score like on the first 2 plays in the drive. Hereford County get the ball back, and they had maybe 8 minutes to go into half. So I think if we just game manage it, calm down not calm down, but just make sure that when we score, we leave enough time where you guys, if you get the ball back, you have it 4 minutes. That's one thing that Southern does good over here. If they score quick, their defense gets you off the field, and then they come back on and have long drive. So if Nash can do that, I think that'll be one of our biggest key strengths right there. Because you guys, I seen that. You guys score real good, real fast.
Well, yeah, but I mean, again, and we are talented, but the quality opponents we've played, and Chris, we're not going to sugarcoat it because you can't put sugar on what. But I mean, it's just not been. I mean, I hadn't like looked at this, but I can't. I'm of the 13 games we've played, we've scored in the 50s. Like 8 out of the 13. And
I would say our lowest scoring output, like a 40-point game.
And that was against Princeton.
Yeah, Princeton, and Princeton, and I want to say the first game of the year against Northside was a 40-point game. But
40-point game against Northside too, but it's just, I don't know. I'm not going to make a prediction. I told Chris I'm not going to make a prediction because I'm calling the game. I'm a homer already, obviously, but I don't want to make a prediction. Obviously, who I want to win, but I'll just say this. I'll say Clinton wins if, and Northern Nash wins if. Okay, and I'll start with Northern Nash. Okay, Northern Nash wins if they control the clock, win the turnover battle, and have long sustained drives. Okay. Example, you would think a team like Princeton runs the single wing. They can't throw the ball from me to the wall. You would think that us knowing that all they're going to do is run it would be something where they would mix in a play action pass, or they would mix in a trick play. They didn't do that. We shut down. They were 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And it's just, when you're a running team and all you can do, when you fall behind 28 points, it's hard to come back. So I think Nash Central wins if they're able to control the clock, long sustained drives that capitalize with touchdowns, not field goals, touchdowns, and they win the turnover battle. Clinton wins if they take Nash Central out of what they do best, being able to run the football, sustain those long drives, and they go ahead and take a lead and just put a foot on their throat. That's what they've done to everybody this year. And that's just what those are my, like, Clinton wins if, Nash Central wins if, because I'm not going to make a prediction because I try not to stay away from that. But I don't know how you think those takes are, but I'd love to hear what both of you think in terms of that.
Well, listen, I got my keys to victory here. start with Nash Central. For Nash Central, perfect play or close to it. Look, you can't be out there making. Look, Clinton's a good football team. You can't be out there making mistakes. Don't help us out. If you gonna help us out, we gonna take it. Trust me, we gonna take it. So I'm saying perfect play or close to it. Like I said, win the turnover battle, limit penalties. Shawn, I don't know if you noticed this, man, but it was a key drive in the fourth quarter of y'all game against Hertford County where they had y'all stop on they had y'all like on the 2nd and 15, had some momentum. Then guys out there just, I don't know, they were talking or what, got a big unsportsmanlike penalty, and that gave y'all new life in the fourth quarter. And just little stuff like that, mental errors like that, you cannot make it in games like this against good teams, because that, you're playing a team like, Fairmont or West Blaney, just a minor inconvenience. Something like that against, Nash Central or Clinton, and that could be your ball game right there.
Ball game.
Another thing for Nash Central, big plays. Y'all love the big play. Y'all gotta have y'all big plays on offense. It seems like y'all that really drives the team, gives them momentum. And like I said, y'all got the running backs to do it, man. Those guys got some wheels. But yeah, big play on offense, limited big play for Clinton on defense. And for y'all offense, stay on schedule. If you allow Clinton defense to win first down, you're already in the hole there. And I see you guys, your quarterback is close to 1,000 yards, so y'all do pass it a little bit, but you're more comfortable running the ball. You're more comfortable in the third and short, second and short. You don't want to get a 2nd and 15, a 3rd and 8, and allow that Clinton front seven to really pin their ears back. So that's mine for Nash Central. For Clinton, hey, like my man Coop said last week, man, just keep doing what you're doing. There's no need to reinvent the wheel on this one. Do what got you here. Too often we see teams get, later in the playoffs and they start to overthink it. I understand game planning to fit your opponent, but don't overthink it. Don't totally go away from what got you there. So that's what for Clinton, win the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. Offensive line has been playing, outstanding. I can't say, can't give them enough compliments. Defensive line, same thing. You're going against a running team. You got to win that line of scrimmage. That's dictate. That's where the game is won at. You got to be physical with this team, let them know what's going on. And for defensively, limit Nash Central's big plays. Like I just talked about for Nash Central, that's what I feel like really gives y'all, really hypes them up, gives them momentum. Limit those big plays. If you're gonna score a touchdown on us, you're gonna have to drive the field. We ain't gonna give you no 80-yard touchdown run. But that's just in outside containment, man. I see these guys, like I said, that speed. When y'all running backs hit that corner, most of the time it's game over from what I saw. So we really gotta hold that edge, keep them guys inside. One thing I can say about Clinton defense, man, we're really aggressive. Coach Hunt sends me weekly stats, and I always ask him, I'm like, man, Coach, I'm looking at the same stuff you're looking at, man. How are you pinpointing who's making the tackle? Because every play you got 3 or 4 kids flying to the ball. So it's hard for me to even credit who's getting what tackle. So like I said, we're a very aggressive defense. Kids are flying to the ball. That's what you're gonna need Friday night. So that's pretty much my keys to the game, man. And of course, I'm not gonna give a score prediction, man. Like,
now, hey,
like
man,
I ain't gonna give a score prediction, but I'm feeling I'm at a Clinton victory, and my biggest thing is, and I stand by this, I just don't feel like one-dimensional beats this team this year. You're not gonna just beat us running the ball. If you're able to, complete some big pass plays, you give yourself a better chance. But I just don't see one-dimensional beating Clinton this year. That front seven on defense is too strong, and I feel like even if our offense is having an off night, that defense is just. They're going to give up. They're going to force turnovers. They're going to help field position, make things easier if the offense is struggling. But I just don't I'm saying a Clinton victory Friday night, but I'm not gonna give a score prediction, man. I ain't gonna make any Nash Central fans mad at me, man.
Yeah. Now, Shawn, we know from your latest grit and grind video that you're taking Nash Central. I understand, but why does Nash Central win?
Nash Central wins if we do these things. I mean, I talk with the Bulldogs all the time about it. Do your job, number one. Don't worry about the next man's job. Do your job. You're the linebacker on the inside. Stay on the inside. If you're the outside linebacker, contain the outside. On the defense, the shootout game last week scares me, but in that fourth quarter, we were able to have at least 2 good stops that I felt like got their confidence back going into this Clinton game. On the offensive end, it's got to be the 3 things. It's got to be the general, Winston Lee. It's got to be Rogers. It's got to be Jones. Those 3 are the keys to victory on the offense. That offensive line did an outstanding job last week of blocking 99 for Hertford County at the D-line. We're going to have to make sure that we block that front 7 for Clinton because I've seen you guys on tape, but that defense is coming. And they're trying to get in the black field and blow something up. If Nash Central can get to the outside, a balanced play calling game with pass and run, and the defense is able, we can't stop you, but just slow you down. And that's the key word. If we could just slow down your offense on 2 drives, keep the game close, keep fighting, I think we could take it. And I said on grit and grind, I said it right here. I think we can take it by 3.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Hey, okay. All right. Well, hey, I want to say this, and because I know we're about to wrap it up, but Shawn, I don't know when the last time it was you came to Clinton, but when you come to Clinton, have a blast. Chris and I both kind of laugh. We hear it called the stables, or we hear it called the corral, like the basketball gyms, the corral, and it's like either way, it's Dark Horse Stadium. Okay, have fun. Enjoy yourself, and make sure you get one of those pork chop sandwiches because they make them fresh every game before a game. You can smell them like a mile down the road. And it's so Clinton, if Sampson County knows anything about anything, they know about football, they know about pork. So be sure to get you one of them pork chop sandwiches for sure.
I definitely will. And make sure, Clinton, y'all have me a shirt. I love to buy shirts everywhere we go when we visit other schools. So if Clinton has some shirts, make sure they save me one.
Yeah, there'll be some when you where the front gate is. That's where they do their merchandise. So you should be able to get one up there.
Perfect.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Now, like I said, man, I really appreciate you fellas coming on. Like I said, man, enjoy the game. Enjoy the atmosphere, man. Dark Horse Stadium, like Jonathan was saying, man, one of the best places to watch a football game. Fans are very passionate, very accommodating, very welcoming, man. And you got to meet a good friend of mine at y'all game, Mr. Jake Smith. Now, if you don't know Jake, man, Jake, his nephew was Raheem Skinner. Raheem was a really good football player for us for a couple years back, man. So yeah, Jake's a good friend of mine. Always, we always talk about y'all guys' show. He's a big supporter of my show, man. So I appreciate it. He said he come to find you Friday night. So
yeah, I told him to come find us. You know what we
Yeah, but man, great group of fans. Look forward to Nash Central people coming down. Really, it's gonna be a great game, man. We want the stadium to be filled out on both sides, man. Standing room only. Get loud, cheer for these kids. They deserve it. These coaches deserve it, man. That's what it's all about.
Hey.
I'm jealous of both of y'all. Like I said, if you don't know, I moved down to Tampa, Florida about 2 years ago, and I miss it so much, man. But luckily, for me, I got this guy right here, and he's gonna tell you guys. Just give him a little breakdown on for anybody that can't make it to the game Friday night. The next best place to be is listening to that man right there and coach my old defensive coordinator, Mr. Jeff Salvo, do the play-by-play. Jonathan, you want to give him a little?
Yeah. So if you want to listen, if you can't make it to the game, if you don't have the NFHS network, which one of the things, Shawn, that we do at Clinton is we sync our audio from our play-by-play radio into our video.
Oh,
so
nice.
if you have the NFHS network, or if you get a chance the next time you want to watch it, if Clinton is somehow still hopefully playing next week or whatever, or even next year, if it's a home game, our audio is synced in with the video. So it's a neat experience. We've been told. I've never got a chance to watch myself, but I'm usually in the booth, but just go to oldies1170.com or Mixlr. That's mixlr.com/oldies1170, and you can listen to the game live if you don't have the NFHS network or can attend. And one thing I'll say, one last thing, because this blew my mind last week, and I'm on my soapbox about it, but I got to ask you your opinion on this, Shawn, because you will be an unbiased person.
Okay.
Southeast Alamance comes to Clinton. Very welcoming, good people, everything like that. The game ends, okay? They decide to huddle around. Chris knows where I'm going with this. So like most schools, they'll huddle after the game for a little team meeting or whatever. Well, and sometimes, some schools have their fans come on the field because they want to hear the coach talk about. Okay, well, Clinton, when they win, always plays music until the lights are about pretty much turned off. Where they huddle is on the side where the speakers are. So instead of going to the locker room or going to the other end of the field where nobody's at, they huddle right there. They have two people like waving up to the booth, like, turn the music down, blah, we can't hear the coach. They have a gentleman walk all the way up from down there to the press box who asked us to turn the music down so they can hear their coach post-game meeting. And I said, sir, I don't run the music. It's not, I'm on the radio. We're during a commercial break. I said, but two things. One, you're up here so you can't hear him anyway instead of being down there. And two, people who thinks they're going to go to a visiting stadium and be accommodated to the point where you're going to be allowed. Like, this is the tradition of the school is to play music till it's time. When you win, and it wasn't like it was a disrespectful song. It was just standard music. It wasn't even a rap song or anything with any language. It was just a song. And they were mad because they couldn't hear over the speakers. Now, you tell me on your opinion. If I'm off base here, I'll be it. But I would have never gone. Like, if I go to Nash Central and I'm a coach on Clinton, at the game's over, if I decide to huddle my team on your field and your celebration post-game routine is to play music until everybody's left the stadium.
That's right.
I'm not going to assume that I'm entitled to peace and quiet so my coach can tell a speech to his players and fans. I'm not. But they did. So I'd love to get your take on it.
Giles, I think you're right. If you are the business school going to a school and their home school wins, they're going to do their tradition. I mean, every school down in Nash County has something. Northern Nash wins, their band plays to pretty much everybody's out. If Southern wins, their kids run on the field and celebrate. Nash Central, same thing. When we win, the band plays. Coach Lee has his meeting over on the side. And most of the visiting teams either go on the other side or behind the field house or out to the parking lot to kind of do their post-game meeting. So I'm with you. I think they were out of line telling y'all at home, especially at home. At home, I can see if you was on the road and somebody brought a Bluetooth speaker and just started playing, then that would be different. You at home at your house, coming in your house telling you to turn the music off. I think they were out of line on that one.
Well, I'm baffled because they called us rude like 4 or 5 times as they're walking away, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm not
at your house and y'all won the game.
Yeah, and it'd be different if we were playing like, a song that was telling the other team that you stink we weren't even playing all I do is win. It was just a standard just rock song, and it was just something to give music while people exit out the stadium, and they wanted peace and quiet to have their little, talk. Hey, there's a locker room for a reason.
That's right. That's why we
and if you gotta have the right. I mean, so I don't know, man. I just was blown away because I've never seen anybody do that. And at first it made me feel bad, and I thought, nah, I can't feel bad about that because I would never feel entitled enough to be able to go to somebody else's place and feel like they better accommodate me for music. So, yeah. Hey, well, needless to say, you're going to hear music win, lose, before, after, during, it's going to be played. So if you don't like loud things, stay on the opposite end of the stadium.
Looking forward to coming down to Dorhorse Stadium. I haven't been down there some years. I think the last time I was down there was probably post-Willie years when you guys had a good run. I came down there for a game. So it's been, about at least 10 to 15 years. I ain't been that way.
It's different. The end zone that you enter in has got brand new speakers in it. They don't put them over the press box anymore. And if you set up on that end, you won't be able to hear yourself think. So just FYI.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but this has been a pleasure, by the way.
It has. I appreciate y'all letting me come on this week on y'all episode of you. I really do.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate both of y'all joining me, man. Like I said, it's going to be a great game on Friday night. Shawn, real quick, do you want give them let the Clinton listeners know about you guys' show? I mean, like I said, we listen to it every week, but I want anybody that doesn't know about it, just give them a little quick where they can find you guys at.
You can find us on YouTube on Studio 67 NCC. That's Studio 67 Nash Community College. We are the Grit and Grind Show. Me and Deryl. We break down high school football right here in the Nash, Wilson, Edgecombe, Northampton, Warren, Oxford County. That little area right there, Wayne County. We break that down. You can check us out on that. You can also check us out on our Instagram on Grit and Grind Podcast NC. On the Instagram on Friday nights, we go live around 5:30 or 6, but you'll get an alert. As soon as the game is over with, we do a post-game show, just wrap it up. So we would be honored and love to have some of the people in Clinton start tuning into our show.
Yeah, man. And you just recently started doing West team picks because they got on you.
We did. We used to do the Smoky Mountain Game of the Week, but because Mount Airy fans kind of, last year when Mount Airy played Tarboro in the playoffs, they asked us to start doing some more West games. So we started doing some stuff with Mount Airy and schools over there. But right now, with everything kind of still being real hot over here on the coast, we just told them we'll get back with them next week.
Yeah, for real.
All right, fellas, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up, man. This is another episode of Voices from the Stables. Chris Harris, Mr. Jonathan Griffin, Mr. Shawn Lucas. Appreciate y'all boys coming on. Looking forward to Friday night. Folks, get out there and support these teams. Fill the stands up. Cheer loud. Don't sit on your hands. These young men, these coaches have been working hard, so let's show them some support. Once again, appreciate everybody listening. Hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving, and go Dark Horses.